She's pregnant. But before you celebrate, let's be clear, this isn't just a heartwarming baby announcement. This is days of our lives, and nothing is ever that simple. Because Sarah Kyriakis is carrying more than just a child, she's carrying a devastating lie. And when Xander Kyriakis finds out what she's been hiding, it might be enough to destroy everything they've worked so hard to rebuild. Let's break down what's happening, why it matters, and how this baby could be the very thing that saves, or shatters, this marriage. Longtime Days of Our Lives fans know that Sarah and Xander's relationship has never been ordinary. It's been passionate, messy, complicated, and above all, tested, time and time again. From fake deaths and stolen babies to affairs and emotional breakdowns, they've weathered nearly every storm imaginable. But this time, the threat isn't from the outside. It's Sarah herself. Because behind her soft eyes and tearful reassurances lies a secret, one that could unravel everything they've fought to rebuild. For weeks, maybe longer, Sarah has known the truth about Philip Kyriakis' deception. She knew he forged the letter that helped him steal a controlling stake in Titan. She knew Xander was being manipulated, cut out, disgraced, humiliated. She saw it happen, and she said nothing, while Xander obsessed over who betrayed him, questioned everyone around him, and slowly began to unravel emotionally and professionally. Sarah stayed silent, not out of fear, not out of confusion, but out of choice. She chose to protect Philip's secret. She chose to keep the truth from the one man who trusted her most. And worst of all, she allowed herself to watch as Xander, her husband, the father of her child, was left in the dark. He needed her. He needed clarity, but Sarah gave him neither. That's not just a lie, it's a betrayal of the deepest kind. One that slices far beneath the surface. Because when the person you love becomes the one hiding the truth from you, trust doesn't just crack, it shatters. And in Salem, no secret stays buried forever. When the truth finally reaches Xander, it lands like a wrecking ball. The initial shock is enough to knock the wind out of him. But then comes the disbelief, the anger, the heartbreak that follows when you realize the one person you believed in was playing you all along. He stands still for a moment, processing, trying to convince himself there must be more to the story, that maybe Sarah had a reason. But as the truth settles in, something inside Xander snaps. He's not just angry, he's devastated. Because Sarah wasn't a stranger. She wasn't a rival. She was his anchor, the one person who was supposed to stand beside him when the world turned against him. And instead, she stood by Philip. She didn't just betray him. She chose someone else over him. Xander replays every moment of doubt he faced, every time he second-guessed his instincts, wondering if he was being paranoid. And now he knows, he was right to question it all. The pain isn't just emotional, it's physical. It's betrayal layered over humiliation. And the realization that everything he thought was safe, isn't. He looks at Sarah, and for the first time in a long time, he doesn't see his wife. He sees a stranger. A woman who let him walk blindly into disaster. A woman who watched him spiral, and chose to remain quiet. A woman who held the power to protect him, but didn't. And as all of this builds inside him, his heart reaches its breaking point. But just as the storm gathers, just as Xander seems ready to walk out, to slam the door on their future, another twist hits like lightning. A moment so unexpected, so emotionally conflicting, that it freezes him in place. Sarah's pregnant, and suddenly, what felt like the end might just become a new beginning. Or, it might be one final manipulation in a relationship already on the brink. In the wreckage of trust, in the ashes of deception, comes something no one saw coming. A baby. That's right, Sarah is pregnant. And while Salem has seen its fair share of unexpected pregnancies, this one lands differently. It doesn't arrive with celebration. It doesn't come with champagne toasts or heartfelt family hugs. It comes with silence. Because the timing isn't just bad, it's catastrophic. The moment should have been joyful. Just days earlier, Xander Kyriakis, unaware of the lies Sarah was keeping, casually suggested giving Victoria Kyriakis a little sibling. It was innocent, a hopeful comment, a sign that maybe, just maybe, they were beginning to dream again. And Sarah's response? A nervous pause, a smile, then, a soft, "That sounds perfect." But what Xander didn't know, what he still doesn't know, is that Sarah might already be expecting. Yes, in the middle of the emotional chaos she helped create, she could be carrying his child. And suddenly, everything shifts. This isn't just a marriage crumbling under the weight of betrayal. It's a family in flux. Because if Sarah really is pregnant, Xander is no longer just the man she hurt, he's the father of the child she's bringing into the world. And that reality changes the stakes. It forces questions that neither of them are ready to answer. Can a baby heal wounds that words can't? Will this new life serve as a bridge, or a weapon? And most haunting of all, will Xander see this child as a blessing, or a bargaining chip? Because in Salem, nothing is ever simple. And forgiveness never comes without cost. Even as the shadow of new life begins to flicker in the distance, the damage already done between Sarah and Xander hangs heavy in the air. This isn't a moment of confusion. It's not a temporary argument. This is a betrayal sustained over time, crafted in silence and sealed with complicity. Sarah didn't just make a mistake, she maintained it. She allowed Philip's deception to breathe unchecked. She chose quiet loyalty to someone else while the man she vowed to love was losing everything. And now that the truth is out, the wound is deep. And for Xander, it's personal in a way no other betrayal has ever been. Because this wasn't just about business. This wasn't about corporate backstabbing or public image. This was intimate. This was about trust in the truest sense. Xander opened himself to Sarah. He believed in their new beginning. He believed that, after everything, they had finally learned how to protect each other. But as he stands in the wake of her silence, he feels like a fool. And a baby, no matter how miraculous, can't erase that overnight. We've seen Xander choose rage over redemption before. We've watched him self-destruct, run, hide, even strike back when he's hurt. But we've also seen him love Sarah in a way that feels rare, forgiving her, chasing her, defending her. This time, however, the roles have flipped. Now Sarah is the one who has to prove she's worthy of that love. She has to fight to rebuild what she broke, not just with apologies, but with action. With truth. With vulnerability. And that fight may start with the very words she's most afraid to say. Xander? I'm pregnant. Will he see it as a reason to stay? Or will he walk away before she even finishes the sentence? In a relationship forged through fire, this could be the moment that determines whether they rise again, or finally burn out. This is where the storyline takes a sharp turn from emotional drama into strategic speculation. Because fans are starting to ask a chilling question: was this all part of Sarah's plan? Now, before we jump to conclusions, let's be fair. Sarah isn't evil. She isn't manipulative by nature. In fact, for much of her Days of Our Lives journey, she's been portrayed as warm, loyal, and fiercely protective of those she loves. But Salem has a way of sharpening even the kindest hearts. And when the walls started closing in, when she realized the truth about Philip's forged letter would eventually come out, some are wondering if Sarah calculated her next move before the fallout hit. Because what better way to soften a betrayal than to deliver hope in the form of a new baby? Think about the timing. Just as Xander starts pulling away, drowning in rage, feeling blindsided and humiliated, Sarah offers him something he's wanted for a long time: a second child. At first, it sounds innocent. A simple, shared dream between two people trying to rebuild. But the truth may run deeper. When Sarah agreed so quickly to Xander's suggestion of giving Victoria a little sibling, did she already know she was pregnant? And if she did, was her enthusiastic yes just a way to keep the door open? To buy time? To shift the emotional balance back in her favor? Because whether she meant to or not, Sarah has weaponized timing. She's delivered the ultimate emotional conflict, hurt, wrapped in hope. Betrayal, softened by a baby. And now, Xander is trapped between two truths. The woman he loves deceived him. That same woman may now be carrying his future child. That's not just a coincidence. That's a checkmate move, intentional or not. And let's be honest, in Salem, we've seen far more manipulative plays. Sarah may not be pulling strings like Kristen or scheming like Sammy, but this situation has raised red flags for fans who wonder. Did she think ahead? Did she believe that once the truth exploded, a pregnancy would be the one thing Xander couldn't walk away from? Because as much as he wants to punish her, he's not the kind of man to abandon a child. And Sarah knows that. So if this baby really is part of the equation, then intentionally or not, she may have created her very own get-out-of-jail-free card. But here's the danger. If Xander ever suspects that this pregnancy was used to manipulate his emotions, to save Sarah from the consequences of her actions, the betrayal could deepen. What was once hope could become a weapon. What was meant to heal could destroy them both. And that's what makes this story so compelling. Because even if Sarah's heart is in the right place, even if the pregnancy is real, unplanned, and filled with love, the timing makes it impossible to ignore the question: is this child a symbol of their future, or a desperate attempt to rewrite the past? So, where does this leave us? Sarah's pregnancy could be the light at the end of a dark, twisted tunnel, or it could be the last straw in a relationship already on life support. Xander has every reason to walk away. But he also has every reason to stay, especially if a new child is on the horizon. What happens next will depend on more than just apologies and test results. It will depend on whether Xander can look past betrayal and believe in a future again. And whether Sarah, despite her choices, can convince him that the baby isn't a manipulation, but a miracle. Let us know in the comments, should Xander forgive Sarah now that a baby may be involved? Was Sarah's lie justified, or completely selfish? And do you think this child will bring peace, or more chaos? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next dramatic twist. Because in Salem, even a pregnancy test can feel like a ticking time bomb. Stay tuned. The truth always comes out on days of our lives.